Welcome to my weekly review. This is the daily chart of the Nasdaq, and you can see that it has been trading below its 200 simple moving average since January 18th of 2022. So this is going on 53 weeks below the 200 simple moving average, and there's only been two other times in its history that it's traded below the 200 for this long. That was 1973 to 1975. It was below the 200 for 15 months. And in 2000, 2001, it was below for 15 months as well. And that would be the maximum. Now in 2000, 2001, it lost 80% of its value. And in 2008, 2009, it lost more than 50%. From peak to trough here, it only lost only 37%. And, a lot of people felt a lot of pain in 2022, but in 2023, it's like, we flipped the switch here. And the Nasdaq is a leading index now, although it is still below the 200, as I mentioned. It rallied like for 7 straight days. And then on this day, this is a shortened week here. We had Martin Luther King holiday. We came back on Tuesday and it advanced some more, to my surprise. I expected a sell-off, and we got it finally on Wednesday, where it, gapped up higher at the open and sold off, forming this bearish engulfing candle. And I thought, oh, here we go. We're going to get a nice pull, something like we had in prior times when it sold off. And you could see some of these hard pulls here, like this and like this and like this, and even more recently, like that hard pull. But it found support, and it rallied up like another follow-through day here on Friday. Look at the volume here. So it tells me that institutions are supporting this index in 2023. And yeah, it's below the 200, granted, but it did get support here at the 50. So I'm more bullish than ever, because if I was bearish, and you got to be flexible, you got to think both ways. You got to think about the other side of the trade. But this is nice, as they drove it down to 10,088, then it retested here again at 262, then again here at 207. But the shorts cannot push it below this. And so if it can't go lower, then it's got to go higher, right? Or it could trade sideways for months and months. It could do that. But if I'm a short, I'm pretty frustrated here that, they can't push this thing lower, especially with all the negative headline news. This thing is rebuffing all this bad news. And I think 2022, that's what priced in all the bad news. And now you're getting all this negative news, and it's going higher, and it's kind of confounding some folks here. And if, Europe is supposed to be the in the trouble and the recession, and you hear all these bad things, the war, but this thing's going higher. This is the Euro stocks 50 index. And so don't listen to the news, I guess, would be the moral of that story. And here's the S&P here. Again, is rejected here, got the Matambo treatment at the 200 once again. And this thing sold off on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but it found support. Now it's right back to its 200. So it's got to trade through it. It's got to get above this 4,000, 4,100 level. And you can see it's just kind of in this trade range, 38 to 41, going back and forth. So as a long or a bull, you need to see this thing going higher. If you're bearish, you want to push that thing below 3,800. Anyway, that's enough for the indexes. I have stocks that I like, and I'm going to go through my disclaimers. I don't recommend buy, sell, or hold. You're all big boys and girls. Do your own due diligence. And anyway, if I told you to buy something, you'd probably do the exact opposite anyway. So I understand that. I'm married. Anyway, this is Tidewater. I got to go to the weekly charts on these. It's a weekly review, so I'm going to weekly charts. And you can see this thing, has had a nice run from 2020. Had a little Dolly Parton pattern here. The neighbor bases ripped higher, formed another base, and traded up, and just this thing just keeps going up, right? So we like stocks going up. At least I do. And this thing continues. Now it's as I go to the daily, you can see that it's a little extended here, 8.1% above its 10 EMA. So that thing needs to calm down a little bit. But Tidewater is definitely a leading stock and a leading group. Another stock that I like in the group is 9. Again, you can see this thing's trending along its 10 EMA. And I just want to show the weekly on the weekly weekly review. You can see that it consolidated here for a long, long time. Doesn't have the sales and earnings like Tidewater, but once it starts moving, this thing is appreciating rapidly. Right now it's 13.3% off its 52-week high. And so this is a nice little pull here from 1710 down to what, 1483. Okay. Anyway, enough of the oil and gas field services stocks. Obviously, Schlumberger had a powerful earnings report on Friday and kind of drove that market higher. I also like the steel stocks. Like I say, if stocks are going up, I like them. If they're going down, I don't. All stocks are bad unless they're going up, then they're good. As somebody once said. Anyway, this is Steel Dynamics. You can see, obviously, from 2020, every stock went higher, and you could just throw darts at a board and make money. But now this thing consolidated here, and in 2022, when the rest of the market was crapping out, this thing was just kind of trading sideways. And now, towards the end of 2022, it started to move, and it's trading above its 10 EMA. So this looks good to me still. Cleveland Cliffs is the one that's really moving. It's up 30% in 2023. And you could see on the weekly, it's just still forming a base here. It just got above its moving averages. So Cleveland Cliffs is definitely one to watch. Anything up 30% in 3 weeks, yeah, that's a good thing. Another area that I like, Caterpillar, kind of a boring, stock, a boring group. But hey, like I say, if they're going higher, I want a part of it. I'm a trend trader, and this thing is consolidated, formed a little flat base or a shelf or a handle, whatever you want to call this area here, and then it just took off. Pulled back last week during the sell-off down to its 21 and found support, and Friday was up 1.6%, doing nothing wrong. CROX is another one that's kind of boring, but they're going up, so it's doing a little better than Caterpillar in 2023. You can see this base here ran up, another flat base, and trading higher once again. So there's a lot of groups doing well. One of them is the retailers, CROX. People say, you hated CROX, you like CROX, you hated CROX. Well, yeah, like I say, if it goes up like this, I like it. If it goes down like this, I don't like it. If it goes up like this, okay, I'm a trend trader. Okay, I want stocks to go up, so CROX is going up, so I like it. It's a little extended here, pulled back to its 10 EMA, but these guys are killing it. The Hey Dude acquisition is adding to their revenues, and CROX looks good. They're going to report here on February 16th, and they're just going to crush it. SKX, this is another one in the retail, apparel shoes group. You can see this one sold off. It's starting to just kind of form the right side of its base here. It's got a lot of sales. These things don't sell they don't get a huge multiple. They're not like software, the retail shoes. But anyway, this thing's trading above its 10 EMA, and it's got a lot of revenue, and it's a good stock. It's going higher in 2023, so that's why I included it above the 10 EMA. It's not a buy here. It's not actionable, but it's just a strong stock. And another group that I like is anything with an RX in it, CPRX. The biotechs, the drugs. Let's go to the weekly on this, because this obviously since 2020, this thing was been, appreciating, but it had this little base here as it, I forget it had some, let me go to the daily. It had patent litigation here. Here it is. 9 is the buy point right here. And then it ripped higher. Yeah, it settled patent litigation, and then formed another base. That was it. The buy point was 1660 somewhere in here. And this says 1720. Anyway, it's ripped up to 21 now, and just they bought a new drug. They're going to add it to revenue. They're going to raise. They're going to update their guidance here, and this one is respecting its 10 EMA, 3.4% above the 10 EMA, and that's what a trend trader likes, is just finding support at the moving averages. So that is behaving beautifully for a leader. RVMD, I went through some of the IPO stocks from 2019 and 2020 and kind of, looking at stocks in stage 1 basis. And I found this one, it doesn't have the, earnings and sales that you like. Most of these, drug stocks don't. People are scared of them because they slam hard, they trade wild. But this one formed a base and gapped higher. Now it's pulled back. So I'm looking for support at one of the moving averages here, and hopefully thinking this thing trends higher. I have about 20 IPO stocks from that time frame that I included on this site here at mcstockcharts.com, and I'll put 10 this week and maybe 10 more next week. RXDX, another one with RX in a ticker symbol, and this one just gapped higher on positive trial news and has formed a shelf, and then had another big day here, up almost 8%. So this one is performing real well. It's just like finding support at the 10 EMA. Anyway, that's enough for the biotechs. We can't have a rally without some semiconductors. This is ACLS semiconductor equipment stock. I listened to their webcast. It was January 10th or January 11th. They have some strong future sales growth. So this again, this base on base pattern, then kind of tore out of there. And now it's respecting its 10 EMA. So as a trend trader, you got to like that stock. I bet this will have trouble with the ghost of the 100, the round number, but we'll see. If it rips through it like a hot knife through butter, I will be impressed. Another one of these semiconductor stocks, ALGM. This is semiconductor equipment. There's Fabulous, and this is a manufacturing stock. Another one of those IPOs from 2020. Went through it's going through, I think it's still its due diligence phase, and formed this little base here. You can see the blue dot, the RS strength, but this one has formed this long cup with this handle now. Nice little shakeout down to the 21. And I actually bought some of this thing last week on this pullback to the 21. So wish me luck. Had an inside day on Friday, even though it was up 3.25%. And the other one, another one that I want to show you is the Fabulous. So went through equipment, Fabulous, and now manufacturing. Manufacturing, and this is the Fabulous. So the old semiconductors that were leading was Qualcomm and AMD and NVIDIA. Now we have some new semiconductors. This is PI, and this one gapped up on earnings and kind of went flat. And then it had another earnings report 2 weeks ago, I believe, one of these days. This day it got slammed. Kind of surprised because the earnings were strong. You could see the sales and earnings growth, and then it it broke out, then pulled back. So this is another one that I'm buying on a pullback here. I like it around 124, 125, but don't do as I do, or don't do as I say. Do what you want to do and do your own due diligence. AEHR, I changed my mind on this one. I don't like it that much because of the fund ownership here. 75 funds, kind of paltry. It's got almost a 900 million market cap with about 65, 70 million in sales. I know they signed a 25 million contract on Friday, but it does have a tendency to pull hard like this. That's tough to sit through. From a 19 to 13, those are big moves. Just recently, 28 to 17. But when the stock ramps up on earnings, 32% on over 500% above average daily volume, I take notice of that, and bought on this pullback here on Thursday, and it had a pretty nice day on Friday, due to the contract announcement. But I have zero conviction in this thing. It's just a flea of a company, as Upticken likes to say, Mr. Ropes. And I'm going to go through just a couple of stocks that I had on my IPO list from 2019, 2020, 2021, whatever, just recent IPOs that got crushed during the 2022 bear market. Like I say, kind of flipped the switch here in 2023. And to me, this thing looks good as it broke above its downtrend line on Friday, I believe. Yeah, Friday. Okay. Yeah, so I bought that one too. So I've been kind of a busy buyer here recently. ONON, this is a shoe company. No, I don't have a shoe fetish, but I do like shoe stocks, and they've treated me well over the years. And this one just looks, I don't really care about the inventories or any of that. The news on this. This chart looks good. It's in a stage 1 base. You can see from its IPO, it had a nice little reception and then sold off during the 2022 bear market. And now it's forming this stage 1 base. So I like it to trade higher. I did mention CROX, right? So here's another example of a stage 1 base here on the sell-off. Stage 1 base, it went from 66 to 125. So that's why I'm paying attention to stage 1 bases. I got one more. It's in the solar group. I really don't like the solar groups. These things are bipolar, and in phase is like Sybil with 20 personalities. But this one definitely had its IPO due diligence phase, and now it's in this cup with handle pattern here. It's got stage 2 because this is stage 1 here. It ran up But if it can get above 24, I'm interested in this solar stock. You can see the group, it was number one for a long time last year. Now it's 89. So I'm not real thrilled about the group. Anyway, that's enough for this week. That's my daily review. Things are looking better. I'm more bullish, which means the market will probably sell. Anyway, never give up.